Coptic Christians have been a part of Egyptian society since ancient times, but they've never felt more endangered. Since the revolution in 2011, thousands have fled to escape increasing sectarian violence. Now, Australia's top Coptic cleric has called on the government here to use its position on the UN Security Council to stand up for Egypt's largest religious minority.
Australia's Coptic Christians are on edge. The largely Egyptian community is worried about sectarian violence sweeping their country. The Arab Spring brought with it a new government led by the Muslim Brotherhood. Now they feel minorities are becoming increasingly unwelcome in their homeland. In April, 4 Copts were shot dead by an angry Muslim mob. Another 2 were killed during protests after the funerals. The Coptic Pope lashed out at President Mohamed Morsi after the violence, saying it was the president's negligence that caused it.
The Coptic community in Australia, which is 80,000 strong, are very, very concerned for their family and friends back in Egypt.
Australia's most senior Coptic cleric urging the government to use its newfound position in the United Nations to make a stand.
Since we have a position in the UN Security Council, to utilise this to bring the plight of the Copts to the attention of the world.
The Foreign Minister says he's following the situation in Egypt very closely. He says the first phone call he made when he was appointed last year was to Australia's ambassador in Cairo, urging him to get in touch with Coptic leaders.
I wanted them to know that Australia was taking a keen interest in their affairs, and I raised with President Morsi when I was in Egypt our concern with the treatment of the Copts.
Coptic leaders would like members of their community to have better access to Australia's refugee program, but Bob Carr says that's not the answer.
The real solution, given the restraint on the numbers anyone in the world can take, the real solution is to get a recognition of religious diversity in Egypt and see that minorities are protected in Egypt.
Despite reassurances from a number of world leaders, Egypt's Coptic Christians feel abandoned. Those that oppose them are growing in strength every day. They face violence and intimidation on a daily basis. And to make matters worse, it's a situation that doesn't look like improving, at least in the short term. RAMY TADROS recently wrote a book about the plight of the Copts in Egypt. He says the new government, controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood, is allowing the oppression to happen.
Government's definitely abandoned the Copts. It's been increasing since the revolution.
Coptic advocates say Australian officials can help the situation by simply talking about it.
Whenever we can talk about it and raise awareness, I think that's always the first step. As long as the Muslim Brotherhood are in power, it's going to be bleak.
He says the only thing that will improve life for minorities in Egypt is the separation of religion and state, a prospect that at this stage at least seems unlikely. Sam Ikin, World News Australia.